G'day all, I'm out birding the Laratinga Wetlands, a small series of man-made ponds just outside of Mount Barker in the Adelaide Hills, around 30 minutes from Adelaide.
Constructed in 1999, the three large ponds of the Laratinga Wetlands form part of the community wastewater management system here in Mount Barker, evolving over time to become a world-renowned haven for many wildlife species, in particular over 150 species of birds. So join me on this walk around the Laratinga Wetlands. With its ruby red iris catching the light, the Australian spotted crake feverishly darts around the shallows of the wetlands, easily missed as it seeks refuge in the protection of the dense vegetation. Fairly common throughout the eastern half of Australia, these small water birds venture out to feed on aquatic plants, molluscs, seeds and insects. So keep a close eye out around the water's edge or around the aquatic vegetation for this shy and at times elusive pretty little bird. With 3 species of Grebes found in Australia, only 2 were found on this outing to the Laratinga Wetlands. The first species sighted was this striking looking Australasian grebe. Normally found in pairs out from the water's edge where they spend the majority of their time, either on the surface or diving for prey, which consists of small fish and crustaceans. With legs set back towards the bird's rump, the grebes are poor on land, and with relatively small wings, they are also weak flyers. However, whatever the grebe lacks in its land-based and flying abilities, it makes up by being an excellent swimmer. Just like the Australasian grebes, these hoary-headed grebes when startled soon disappear beneath the water, leaving only ripples behind, which will soon disappear as quickly as the grebe did. Both the Australasian grebe and the hoary-headed grebe share many of the same characteristics, which include basically having no tail and one of the highest feather counts of any bird species. Being weak flyers, they generally don't fly. However, if they feel the need to do so, they will more than likely travel at night. White-faced heron. With its intense stare and dagger-like bill, it's ready to snare the smallest of prey with its lightning-quick speed and accuracy. Possibly feeding on small aquatic insects here in the shallows of the wetlands, their diet also consists of fish, frogs, crabs and small reptiles. Its preference is shallow water, ideal for stalking out its prey, and with its nomadic nature can be found in both salt and freshwater systems, including mudflats, rock pools, estuaries, gutters and swamps. The white-faced heron is the most commonly seen heron in Australia. Belonging to the same family as the white-faced heron, and a bird which blends in well with its surrounding environment, is the elusive nankeen night heron. I say elusive due to its primarily nocturnal behaviours, preferring to hide out during the day, roosting in densely covered vegetation. Foraging mainly at night or early in the morning, the nankeen night heron walks slowly around the shallows in search of its prey, using those long pointed toes to scratch around the bottom to flush out such things as aquatic invertebrates, crustaceans, fish, frogs and small reptiles. Being mainly nocturnal, the eye of the nankeen night heron has evolved to be large, and large eyes mean large pupils which allow more light to enter, allowing it to see in poor light. This also means the iris is large, and the iris of the nankeen night heron is beautiful and a striking feature of this majestic looking bird, almost glowing golden in the rays of the sun. A bird more often heard than seen is the Australian Reed Warbler. Easily missed. Keep a close eye amongst the reeds for this olive brown bird as it flutters just above the waterline from reed bed to reed bed in search of insects. One bird which has adapted well to man spread across the land is the Australasian swamp hen. Its blue-purple colours and its eye-catching red facial shield make this bird easily recognisable as you traverse around the ponds. And a bird often seen venturing out to graze on the abundant plant material surrounding the ponds. Similar in appearance to the previous bird is the dusky moorhen, with a much smaller facial shield, yellow tip on its beak, and its dark brown coloured plumage, which is where dusky comes from in its name. Happily either on the water's edge or floating around the surface, these birds feed on seeds, grasses, algae, fruits, molluscs and invertebrates. A bird which looks like it has had an accident with a white paintbrush is the Eurasian coot. In the same family as the last two birds, the Eurasian coot and many of the other aquatic birds around the wetlands are normally shy and elusive. However, many have become accustomed to human activity due to the high foot traffic around the wetlands. Little pied cormorant, a bird which dives deep beneath the surface in search of its prey. In fact, they are benthic zone feeders, meaning they dive to the benthic zone, which is the ecological region at the lowest level of a body of water. But this one's happy to sit and preen itself in preparation for its next expedition to the deep. While the water birds are abundant, and a testament to the creators and keepers of the wetlands, the bird life in the bushland surrounding the wetlands is also plentiful, so it pays to keep a watchful eye on both sides of the footpath. With native vegetation and tall stands of gum trees, it's a hive of activity for birds seeking refuge away from the water's edge. Preferring the comforts of the dense vegetation is the common bronze-winged pigeon, one of Australia's native species of pigeons, feeding on vegetation and seeds. Normally very cautious around humans, taking off at first sight. Their colorisation in the wing always amazes me when it catches the sun's rays at the right angles. White-plumed honeyeater, a small fearless bird at times aggressive towards much larger birds. The striking red of the crimson rosella, perched high in the tree canopy. Red wattlebird, with the lack of flowering gum trees, its main food source of nectar is scarce, so it searches every nook and crevice for insects. A common visitor to the suburban backyard is New Holland honeyeater. New Holland honeyeaters can be energetic and erratic in flight, and normal very social, being found in small groups. But just like no small bird seeks refuge in the safety of dense foliage. You can't go too far in Australia without seeing the introduced rabbit. One thing I've noticed on my many travels is the high number of these pest animals, digging and eating their way through our native flora. One bird that doesn't sit still is the grey fantail. Very acrobatic in flight, this member of the flycatcher family covers the lower canopy of the woodland in search of insects. If the grey fantail wasn't difficult enough to capture due to its energetic and acrobatic nature, then the superb fairy wren makes the grey fantail look easy to get on video. These small birds dart, hop, jump and flutter around the ground using densely covered vegetation for protection. The male bird easily identifiable with his blue markings, which become more prominent during the breeding season and in stark contrast to the dull, plain looking female. A bird which is common around the wetlands, so keep an eye out for these small birds darting around the footpaths. Red Browed Finch, coming out to the open grassland to feed. Feeding is usually on the ground, where they forage for seeds, small fruits and insects. These beautiful little birds are very social and can be found in large flocks. The well-maintained paths surrounding the ponds are flat and easily managed, ideal for taking in the scenery of these beautiful wetlands. Masked lapwing, almost found in pairs and normally found in open grassland. This pair, however, have found refuge on this log in the middle of the pond. Waterbirds are prolific around the wetlands, and the high concentration of ducks is something that won't go unnoticed. This species of duck dabbling on the surface might be difficult to recognise in this pose. Head down, tail pointed to the sky, this Pacific black duck is unable to dive, so grazes on the aquatic grasses just below the surface. The Pacific black duck isn't just the most abundant species of duck found in the wetlands. In fact, it is the most abundant species of duck found in Australia. Australian wood duck. This one a male, more often seen grazing around the water's edge, foraging on grasses and other plant material. Australia has two species of teal duck, with both found in the Laratinga Wetlands, the grey teal and the chestnut teal. A small species of duck. Grey teals are easily confused with female chestnut teals, or male chestnut teals in non-breeding plumage. Like both species of teals, they have a beautiful crimson coloured iris, but apart from that the grey teals lack colour. However, the mottled brown feather patterns are appealing to the eye. The second teal species is the chestnut teal, the male bird in full breeding plumage a standout, easily recognised with his glossy green head and neck. The female chestnut teals, on the other hand, are similar in colour to the grey teals, being mottled brown. That's them swimming alongside the males. Just like the last three species of ducks, the chestnut teals are also dabbling ducks feeding on the surface on aquatic plants and insects. The fifth and final species of duck found on this visit to the Laratinga Wetlands was the hardhead, Australia's only true diving duck. Remembering, the other duck species were dabbling ducks feeding on the surface, while the hardhead dives deep below in search of aquatic creatures. The distant blurred footage of the buff-banded rail proves a close eye should be kept near and far when birding. Only found when reviewing my footage it would have been nice to get some good clear footage. Gee, these hardheads are definitely busy, hard-working little ducks. Easily mistaken for hoary-headed grebes, these birds are in fact juvenile Australasian grebes. Awaiting the next breeding season, where they will burst into their full breeding plumage, similar to the adults. Yellow-billed spoonbill resting in the gum trees on one of the islands in the ponds. Pitiot has its long spoon-shaped bill tucked away. These birds wade around in the shallows, sweeping their bills from side to side in search of small fish and crustaceans. My final bird found on this trip to the Laratinga Wetlands is the Australian ibis, or more affectionately known as the bin chicken, for its habit of loitering around bins, scavenging around for an easy meal. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed this stroll around the Laratinga Wetlands here in Mount Barker, South Australia. If you did, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like to join me on many more adventures searching for our beautiful and diverse wildlife. Thanks for watching.